With the continuing rise in popularity of this film, we ask the age-old question: does watching this movie make you a furry?
Probably.
How about now? No, they're not.
Zootopia 1 and 2 have become Disney's biggest hits in a long time. Even beating out movies like The Lion King and Frozen, it has now become Disney's highest grossing animated film of all time. Pretty crazy how Disney goes back to its roots of anthropomorphic animals to being the next biggest hit. But now we've come to a big question. I don't think it should be that big of a question, honestly. I just think one that pops up pretty often. Why is it when it comes to talking about films with anthropomorphic animals, does all of a sudden mean if you watch this film that you become part of the furry community? Not that there's anything wrong with being a part of it, it's becoming mainstream nowadays, but basically if you watch this film, you're automatically a furry. But I like to think the movie's popularity was made for other reasons, maybe because of the fact that we have such great main characters from great actors and voice actors, and great writing from the writing department as well as the animation. I mean, how can you go wrong with any of those three? And that's just one of many things that makes these two films so great. But just because you watch these films, that automatically makes you a part of that community, even though you don't consent to being that? I just find that kind of an odd thing to question. It's not like this is the only anthropomorphic based film that exists. I mean, I just find it kind of odd that this is the film that causes people to question that. I think the only way for me to get into that is just to really break down as to how we even got here in the first place in terms of this sort of style of storytelling. I guess we'll just have to start from the beginning. So way back when it came to live action entertainment, it was always like, obviously there was just humans just talking to other humans. And it's been that way for a while. When it came to animation and its popularity, when Disney came along, it was always about animals. And part of the reason with that is because, well, Disney was born on an animal farm in Missouri, and that's just kind of centered around his fascination for animals, hence why the company's mascot is an animal. And then inspired other animators to do the same thing, like Warner Brothers with a rabbit, Universal with a woodpecker, and so on and so forth. And it makes sense as to why they would have animals in animation. I mean, we all like a good animal. We have them as domestic pets inside of our houses or apartments. We have them on farms. We eat them. Everybody likes a good animal. And watching them on screen talking and acting as if they're human is very amusing. Sometimes. Mostly in animation. In live action, we haven't figured that out yet. The point is, there's a reason why we all watch these films, and it's usually just out of the fascination of watching animals talk to each other, and to which that's pretty hilarious and kind of amusing. So I think the reason why Zootopia is the main culprit for making people furries is because of its own popularity. But I think deep with its own existence, it tackles a lot to do with just identity and behavior in terms of how you conduct yourself in public, or how people see you as based on how you look. And I think a lot of that resonates not just with furries, but just with people in general outside of that community. Like Zootopia goes into like being under custody because of disorderly conduct, which is something that is a big problem in human society because there's a lot of people that get arrested for disorderly or racial profiling. And that if you're a certain skin color, the people can see you as somewhat of an untrustworthy person just based on how you look. Similar to what Zootopia does with predators. Someone a certain name that you don't exactly find very comfortable because it would make more sense if you were to say it as opposed to the one who's not that species or race to actually say it. For example, Judy says, if you're another animal calling me cute, but if not a bunny saying cute, it just kind of comes off really wrong. See, a lot of it relates to us in so many ways, and I think that's part of the reason why you just automatically think that you're a furry because you're watching this film. I think you're just identifying with what goes on with these characters and what happens in the story because it resonates so closely to what happens in human society, and it does it such a wonderful job, which justifies its popularity. So there's a reason why these movies did so well in both the box office and with critics, because it has that big of an impact on people. And I think it deserves to have that. It's been a while since we had this kind of movie go out this bravely, and it's probably one of the few franchises that actually deserves to exist. By the end of this video, I don't even have to tell you to go watch this film. You probably have already seen it, but if you haven't seen it, do yourself a favor. Do yourself a favor and just go watch it, furry or not.